Welcome back. Thank you to Selligent for sponsoring the email and mobile track. And thank you to Salesforce for sponsoring the Marketing Sherpa Awards 2017. As I mentioned yesterday, we had 202 entries into the awards, and you saw the Best in Show and the Reader's Choice. But we also had some that were very, very good that were the Reader's Choice finalists, and one of those is Jonathan Levey. So I want to congratulate you, Jonathan Levey, and Skyjet on being a Reader's Choice finalist.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I appreciate this, and I'm honored to accept it on behalf of my team at Skyjet and Flexjet, and I really appreciate this opportunity to be here today. So
congratulations, John. Sorry. All right, so let's talk about your on-demand private jet charter company and your mobile app and that huge increase in leads. And I think the best way to think about this story, when we were talking about this beforehand, it's what type of things can you purchase with your fingerprint, right? You could purchase lunch, you could purchase concert tickets, but you can charter a private jet for $20,000, and that blows my mind that you can do that with a fingerprint now because of you, Jonathan. We're going to get into that story. But let's first start by talking about you. What's your background? What do you do with Flexjet?
I'm the Senior Digital Marketing Manager with Flexjet, and I oversee all digital marketing, the website, mobile apps, analytics, and digital advertising. And as part of that responsibility, I oversee Skyjet as well.
Okay. And so Skyjet, that's the brand we're going to talk about with the app. And how does Skyjet serve its customers?
So Skyjet is an on-demand private jet charter service provider. The typical client is, one example could be a professional golfer. They have to get to tournaments every week. They have several golf bags that they have to take with them. So they could pull up the app, request a private jet within 48 hours. They're on it, and they're on their way to their next tournament. And it allows them to be more efficient with their traveling. And basically, we get people to their destination faster.
Okay. So a lot of companies, they hear things like, oh, if someone downloads an app, they have a higher customer lifetime value. They're a more engaged customer. So let's all run out and do an app. What I really like about your story, Jonathan, is you didn't just run out and do an app to do an app. You really were looking at, is there a business case for this? So why don't you start by talking about the mobile performance you saw?
Yeah, we actually started doing mobile advertising on Google AdWords in the fourth quarter of 2014, and then we continued that into the first quarter of 2015 and saw a 50% increase in mobile traffic from our ads. And we also saw a 177% increase in mobile quote requests quarter over quarter. So that was really the straw that broke the camel's back, really to get the internal buy-in to do a mobile app. There was a lot of disruption in the marketplace already, very fragmented, other apps from startups, from other established companies, and we wanted to be the next company to come out with an app.
So we see that in social media sometimes where a brand looks and they say, hey, where should we go on social next? And you see where the customers already are. They're already on Pinterest. It makes sense to go there. You're saying, hey, we know they're on mobile. It makes sense to make that investment. So why don't you tell us a little more about this mobile AdWords campaign you were doing?
Yeah, so we actually used mobile AdWords to target people searching for top airports that people traditionally fly privately to. And they were mobile-only ads. So here's an example of one on the screen. It had the phone number, very quick and easy to understand call to action, and it really just drove great quality leads on our website as well as phone calls. And it was a successful campaign, and it influenced our overall approach to digital marketing.
And what were the results?
We had a 93% increase in website bookings, but as I mentioned earlier, there was a 177% increase in mobile quote requests quarter over quarter.
That's awesome. All right, so once you decide you want an app, building the app is no small task. So why don't you take us through how you chose the right partner to build that app?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we actually came up with a list of about 10 vendors that we wanted to approach, and we sent out RFPs to them and asked for client references, looked at their portfolio of work, the verticals that they've worked on, what types of apps are they well known, have they won awards, and we ultimately came up with a shorter list. We then asked for client references and looked at their design and UX capabilities, and ultimately we decided to work with our agency of choice because design is so important to us, and that they understood how design translated into and met our business goals, and that the user experience had to meet our business objectives or align with our business objectives. So what we ended up doing after getting the client references and having many discussions over several months with these vendors and finally selecting on the one that we worked with, we had a concept workshop with them, a 2-day workshop at their office in San Francisco, where it was basically a discovery session where we spent 16 hours with their team, and it was me and some other key stakeholders that went there, and we further defined the scope, even though we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted the app to do, but it really allowed us to determine that we needed to have some key differentiators in the app if we wanted the app to be successful, such as having Apple Pay and instant pricing.
So was there anything specific you did to prep for this concept workshop? Like what exactly is that concept workshop?
We didn't do much to prepare for it other than having just the list of features that we wanted to include. So we went out there with an open mind, and it was really a cooperative learning environment with them.
Now, one thing we've seen in our MarketingSherpa data is the most important thing that people want in an app is utility, right? They want it to have some function. And nowadays, the mobile web can do so much. Why have the app? So how did you decide on which features were the right features for your app and why they were so important?
So the app had to have a quoting capability and a booking capability. The original app had ungated price estimates. The current app has ungated instant pricing, essentially. And you can basically quote, book, and pay for your flight within 60 seconds, all by having Apple Pay. And so we were the first app in the aviation industry to have Apple Pay in it. Others have since added Apple Pay since then, but we're still the only app in the industry, in the private aviation industry, that has Apple Pay for instant booking, all without any memberships and repositioning fees.
So why ungated price estimates? I mean, if they've made the commitment to download the app, you don't want to get it?
So the ungated price estimates was meant to be a competitive differentiator. So many other apps and websites ask for email addresses and phone numbers before you can actually get a quote. But since our quotes were provided instantly, we didn't need that information from the user, and we also wanted to educate the users. So we knew that there would be some users that would download the app who would not be qualified, but we still serve the need as a utility to educate the market or the potential market about the cost of flying privately.
All right, so obviously the app is really just the front end, right? So what does it take to make it work on the back end?
A lot of data. Even the best user experience can be shackled if you don't have the right data in the proper format to meet the needs of the app's front-end capabilities. So we have a CRM system that was built in early 2000, and we leveraged that instead of going to a third-party vendor, and there's several of them that we could have gone to pay for their services to sort of handle the instant quoting and the booking. But we decided to leverage existing technology and do some upgrades to it in order to run the app. Also, security is a major thing to consider for app development, and that the web services need to be in at least TLS 1.1.
Especially if you have Apple Pay and you're actually going through transactions on the app,
Definitely.
Right? Yeah. All right, so it's one thing to have an app. It's one thing to launch an app. It's quite another thing to get people to actually use the app. So let's take a look at what's some of your App Store optimization tips.
So with App Store optimization, obviously you want to choose the right app name. You have 50 characters that you can use for the title. I always recommend to people when I'm talking about App Store optimization, you want to use your app's name in the front part of it, and then any 3 or 4 keywords after the app name that describes. So ours is Skyjet, private jet charter flights. Maximizing your keywords, you have 100 keywords that you can use, no spaces allowed, and you comma separate them. So having additional keywords that you don't use in your title. One growth hack that we used was leveraging the Spanish language in the App Store for American Spanish. Because it's the second most popular language in the US. and we put some Spanish versions of our top keywords in there, so it actually allowed us to have 200 characters of keywords for one App Store listing. So that was like a little bit of a growth hack. We certainly wrote a compelling description that really described like what the feature set of the app is, and then we included a video as well as screenshots, and the video was very helpful to people who really, it's the value proposition. It's everything that, that's been discussed throughout the conference the last couple of days, is you gotta, lead with the value proposition. And many, there's statistics that are out there that people that watch the video end up downloading the app in the App Store. Of course, Apple doesn't tell you how many video plays you get and how many downloads as a result, but they've done user tests.
Let's take a look at the video in just a moment, but that's a great point. If someone's going to download an app, they don't know what value is hidden on the other side of that action, so kind of revealing that value. So this is kind of like a product demo for the app, right?
Yeah, it's a product demo for the app, and it's really accurate because you can book a jet so seamlessly, and we show the whole process from soup to nuts in 30 seconds.
All right, so let's watch that video.
Skyjet makes booking a private jet easier than ever. Enter your itinerary, compare prices, and book a flight instantly. Skyjet offers exclusive charter access to a custom fleet of aircraft for your next trip. Select your jet, confirm your booking, and pay right from the app in seconds. That's it. You're on your way with peace of mind thanks to Skyjet's rigorous safety standards. Download Skyjet today and simplify your private jet travel.
Very nice. Now, one thing Scott Dickers was talking about this morning is about like creating that really unique kind of surprisingly pleasant customer experience so people will get talking about it. And by creating the first mobile app with Apple Pay, you got people talking, including the press. Why don't you tell us about
The first private jet app with Apple Pay.
The first private jet app.
Mobile app. Not the first mobile app with Apple Pay.
Thanks for correcting
I got
me.
that idea from all the other apps, and there was a lot of red tape to go through with Apple to get them to accept Apple Pay for such high transaction sizes. I mean, the typical transaction is between $15,000 and $20,000. So there was that. But once we got that set in place in the app, then it was off to the races with generating the press. And we had 2 PR agencies working the tech pubs and the business pubs and the lifestyle pubs and the trades for aviation industry. So we were very, very active with our press coverage in late 2015 and even 2016 when we did the second version of the app. So we had an extremely targeted outreach list. We created a press kit with strong visuals, having the video in there, having example photos, screenshots of the app, and then we obviously had the very compelling storying angles, the Apple Pay, the user experience, the ungated price estimates, really highlighting the key competitive differentiators for our business as it relates to the industry.
Now, when we talk about other ways of press, I'm sure is a great way to get the word out, get people to download the app. I love this idea. You did some print advertising, because when we think about it, print is really the original mobile marketing, right? You take a magazine with you to the beach, the pool, whatever, you got your phone right there, great chance to download it. What was the strategy behind the print ads?
So the strategy with the print advertisements, we only did a couple. We were in Rob Report and Jet Set magazine. The Rob Report was the private aviation guide, which comes out every September. And the Jet Set magazine was an extended run edition that came out shortly after Donald Trump announced that he was running for president. So he was on the cover, and they had a ton more print, a larger distribution than they typically have. So we had a little bit of fun with the headline of the ad because the app really does everything that you need it to do to book a flight. So print ads were great for us, but it was hard to attribute the installs because it is a print format. We had a call tracking number, didn't get many calls, but we did see a lift in app downloads and installs and usage after running those ads.
And of course, you used email and social as well to do a little cross-channel promotion.
Email was great. We partnered with some of the same publications to leverage their email lists. We did dedicated emails, so it was also an extremely targeted audience for receiving the messaging that we had to convey. And the share of voice with those emails, the dedicated emails, was 100%. We did some social media with those same publications. Obviously, a lot of social media on our channels, communicating out there, running social media ads on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. So it really, and the digital marketing or the digital advertising promoting the app was very trackable and very successful. And we were able to track the ROI and even the number of bookings from those ads.
Okay, so there's so much work you have to do with an app. You got to build the app. Mm-hmm. You got to get people to download it, and then you got to get people to engage. So if you look at the data, most data when people download apps, the drop off after a few days, it just falls off a cliff of actually using the app. So how did you get them to engage a little more with your app?
So with engagement, we needed to optimize our push notifications and the opt-in, the whole requesting the permission or people to subscribe to push notifications. So in version 1.0, we put up the opt-in screen right when someone opened the app for the first time. And that was the one and done opportunity. It was kind of a fail. In the second version of the app, or version 1.0.1, we actually showed the opt-in after someone provided their email. So we kind of missed out on sending push notifications to anyone who never requested a quote or created an account, because you actually, once you got pricing, you then had to create an account to request a firm quote. Now with the app, which we will show on the next screen, we actually have soft asks. And the purpose of a soft ask is to convey the value of why they should sign up for push notifications, and to communicate that to them so that at a key experience point when they're interested in actually receiving notifications. So for example, they've done several searches in the app for different prices, for different itineraries. We give them, but they haven't booked anything. We'll actually give them the soft ask that says, you haven't booked anything yet. Sign up for special offers, and they can hit OK, and then they're signed up for push notifications so that we can try to re-engage with them. It's almost like cart abandonment. They've added items to their cart, but they haven't checked out. So we opened up that new communication channel to them by having push notifications, and push notifications are a great communication channel. I would say they're even stronger than email, because it's right at the front, right at the home screen of your device. It pops up. You don't have to deal with any 700 emails in your inbox. And then the other times, or the other key experience points, are more transactional in nature. So they've requested a quote. We'll ask them to sign up so that they can receive notifications on when their quote's ready to review, if they ask for a custom quote. And then the other is after they've paid for a trip, after they've booked a trip. That's more of their post-transaction push notifications that we send. So flight alerts, your jet is ready to board, your tail number is X, and having those different types of push notifications allows us to re-engage users and keep them engaged with the app and the brand.
Yeah, I love how you've thought through the push notifications, because that might be something relatively new with an app. But I mean, that's some good basic marketing principles. Give before you get, right? Don't ask them for something right when they download that app. And also explain the value of what you're giving, right, with the soft asks.
Right. The soft ask is, a major re-engagement hack that everyone should do with their mobile marketing.
Now, this app had a really transformative impact on your overall company and the business model. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the first app was really a quoting tool, but it allowed people to book and pay, with Apple Pay. But we quickly realized that we had the back-end system in place that enabled us to become a hybrid broker. So we went from being just a broker and having a quoting app to becoming the Uber of private jets, essentially. We negotiated some partnerships with some key operators that enabled us to have exclusive access to their fleet so that we could offer that up instantly to users in the app. So that's what version 2 of the app was, and we reduced the steps by 40% between version 1 and 42 for booking, and I mean, just like the video shows, you can quote, book, and pay for a private jet within a minute.
Great.
And so it was really impactful to our business, and mobile and digital actually make up 33% of our sales in all of 2016.
What other impacts did it have on your business?
Obviously, all the downloads. We actually are second in market share in the United States for private jet app downloads with 35,000 since its release in August 2015. The first 12 weeks in the App Store, we actually had a 38% average week-over-week user growth rate with all the PR that we were doing, the digital advertising. We actually could not really do a burst campaign like many large-scale apps do, because we had to be very targeted with our approach, and obviously having a limited budget and a limited niche audience, we had to be just very strategic with that approach.
Not everyone can afford a private jet.
Not everyone
right?
can afford a private jet, and we knew that unqualified people would download the app, but we would qualify them essentially, or disqualify them by them using the app and experiencing the instant price estimates. We've also, this number actually has gone up a little bit, but we average about 1,500 searches per week in our app, itineraries processed. So a lot of people are running trip quotes weekly, and 24% of our bookings came through the app in 2016, and like I mentioned, 33% of all sales came from digital.
So aside from the numbers, what type of feedback have you had from the industry and from customers?
Great feedback from customers. We've won some awards, which I'm very grateful to share. Best mobile user experience from i4Travel. We actually beat American Airlines and Alaska Airlines. A couple months ago, we won a Silver Addy in Cleveland for the mobile application, for best mobile application. It's been a fun ride.
Very nice.
It's been a fun ride.
Right, a little turbulence, a little bumpy ride, or just a very smooth one?
Not so much turbulence, just a lot of work, and it's paid off.
For sure.
So, just a very exciting project and a passion project for me. My first app personally, and now I'm working on some other apps for the business.
All right, well, if you have any questions for Jonathan, raise your hands and we'll have a mic come around to you. But so it's your first app. What advice would you give to other marketers if they're going to embark on an app?
Yeah, so you just need to understand how and where your customers are interacting with your brand. That's the whole looking at the analytics, seeing what Google AdWords did for us, and making sure where you are in your space. If you have competitors that have apps and they're seeing success with it, then maybe it's a sign that you should do an app. But obviously you have to see if it makes sense for your business. Do your research. Obviously, entering a new space, you want to research all the different app developers that are out there if you don't have the resources internally to do it. And make sure you're creating the best experience possible for your customers, because at the end of the day, you want to have a really good user experience, because that'll allow your app to actually become successful and people to really resonate with your brand and what your mobile, I consider apps an extension of your brand and an extension of our service. And launching the app, Skyjet has been around since 1997, and launching an app, 18 years after it's founded, we weren't a startup. We had an existing customer base. It was just an evolution of our brand, and it allowed us to better compete in a very with all the digital transformation going on in the private aviation industry. And then mobile app marketing goes beyond app installs. You want to make sure that you have effective user engagement plans in place, as well as a growth strategy to not only grow your user acquisition, but also add growth in terms of financial in the app. So getting those people to convert.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, that's why you have your app, right?
And to refer other users.
Yeah.
So having a referral program in place as well always works.
And I assume that helps with customer reviews as well, right? Having that powerful customer
Yeah, the
experience.
customer reviews, App Store reviews are important. They help with the rankings in the App Store as well.
Okay, great. Any questions for Jonathan? All right, well, Jonathan will be up here after the session. Feel free to come up to him and ask him. And thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thank you.